right back to the body work, then back upstairs.
Oh, Aldo is a shell of himself now. He lands the right hand, and Holloway walks through it like it's nothing.
Oh.
This could be it.
Herb Dean getting in there. He might stop this thing soon. That'll do it.
That's it.
Max Holloway has defended his undisputed featherweight championship.
Strategy is defined as a plan of action designed to achieve a particular aim. Finding your winning strategy can happen overnight or can take years to develop. Here on the STRATS podcast, I hang out with athletes, experts, entertainers, and adventurers, some old friends and some new, to hear how they found their edge in a particular field or for a particular event. Expect to hear about motivation, personal struggles and successes, and actual advice for anyone looking to be better today than they were yesterday. My name is Charles Thorp. My work has allowed me to share stories from the best and the brightest, and I'm bringing those conversations here.
I sacrificed so much time to get here at holidays and birthdays, and I'm at home doing these camps, but not really there. Like I might be there, but I'm really just not there because my mind is someplace else, thinking about something else, thinking of the task at hand.
That was UFC Featherweight champion Max Holloway. It is time for the STRATS podcast.
It was cool to be at a couple of your fights live. I want to take it back a little bit here and you're one of those guys that I think everybody truly respects your grind and the heart that you put into fighting. And so I would love to hear what drew you to fighting. Where did that love and that passion for fighting start?
There's some people when you're doing something and you just feel like you was made for this, and I had that. I was born for this moment after just 3 days of training. I remember training for 3 days, getting asked from my coach at the time hey, you want to fight this week? This weekend, you know what I mean? I started training Wednesday, and it was like Saturday was the fight. He's like, hey, do you want to fight this weekend? I was like, yeah. Well, one of my friends that got me into fighting was fighting. The ticket cost $35, so to me it was no brainer, you know what I mean? Instead of asking my grandma them for $35 to go and watch a fight, you get in for free, and I get to watch it for free. I just had to ask my mom for permission. I think if I asked my grandparents, they probably would have said no, but my mom is a little wild, a little different. So I went there, asked her. She said, I remember the words she told me. She said, yeah, you can do it, you just better win. So that was it. At that time I wanted to be a K1 fighter. That was like 10th grade. 2 years later, was graduating. The whole BJ Penn era BJ was fighting George St. Pierre, got to MMA, and the rest is history.
You mentioned that BJ Penn connection. You're talking about Hawaii. And I'd love to kind of, if you could set the scene, what was the fight world and the fight game like out there? And what kind of fight styles were you studying?
It was big, man. I mean, I went to a high school on the west side of Oahu named Waianae High School. And before the first UFC gym came down, there's meme picture being like, oh, that's not the first UFC gym. The first UFC gym in Hawaii was actually Waianae High School. There's like a meme of a picture, the actual picture that like the first UFC gym is a fraud. This was it. It was already here, it was my high school, and that's just what it is. I remember I wasn't really a fighter in school though, but I remember just going to fights, watching street fights, and as soon as it went to the ground, it was like, stand them up, you know what I mean? Like, let's fight, like, let this guy fight. What you doing taking down? So I just got drawn to striking, kickboxing, boxing, and fell in love, just because that's what we was. I got into one street fight when I was 8th grade, and I got into multiple street fights with my friends, but that don't count. That's like your friends, you guys arguing over certain stuff, and like you just end up fighting, and then next day it's whatever, you're best friends again. But like I got into one street fight in 8th grade. My brother is 7th grade. I have a younger brother. The WWE was huge, Generation X and Goldberg and the Spears. He literally like grabbed this guy, picked him up, and slammed him on the ground. And then like he went to the office, got busted, and one of the boys' friends was my class. He fought an upperclassman, fought an 8th grader. One of the boys' friends was my classmate, and we went to PE. I remember him being like, he's like, so I can't say the word, so blank that he does that. Why he take down? He should stand up, blah blah, this and that. And I just told him, bro, say one more thing about my younger brother. I'm going to turn around and punch you in the face. He said one more thing. I turned around and punched him. So that's it. But I guess I won the fight because I'm the only one that landed. We ended up looking at each other and like just kind of like going around in circles for like the longest 2 minutes in my life waiting for the teacher to come break it up, you know. I wasn't training. I didn't train. I had no experience. He's just watching everybody else and fighting with your friends and, you know, maybe here and there. But, yeah, I mean, I think so. I had to be a stand-up fighter, I guess.
What was that first punch that you threw or kick that you threw that you were like, oh, this feels right. It feels natural. That's the first thing that you went to before you started training.
I mean, there's this thing that any person from YNI, from the west side of Oahu, would tell you what punch that most of us from that town will connect to or throw, and it's called a YNI left hook. That's what it is. It's that left hook, man. It's that left hook. Everybody does it. Everybody throws it. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just it looks cool. It sounds cool. It's that left hook for sure. And
it works because they don't see it coming, man. You're not expecting that. Everyone's kind of leaning on that right side, especially when you're young. And most people are predominantly the right side and favor that. One of the hardest things for a lot of people to get past is finding that heart to push through that first time you get punched in the face, you know, and they're just like, oh, never mind, I'm not out here. But you learn how to defend it. You find like that ability. Did you always have that grit to push through once you started sparring, once you started taking hits? Or was there something that was going on in your mind that allowed you to push through that?
I think I was one of the blessed ones to be able to just push through it. You know, I remember getting punched in the face for the first time, and the first thing that popped up in my mind was like, I gotta punch this guy back. But not everybody's like that, you know. But there's no greater feeling after training or doing any type of training and just knowing that I can actually protect myself. You know, if something was to happen to your loved one or someone you care for dearly, you can protect. You can be that protector, you know. So there's no greater feeling than that. If anybody's asking me, oh, how do you get past that grit and whatever? It's like, look, you can almost be a superhero, you know.
Well said, man. I think that's really interesting to hear that your motivation is to be a protector. Talking about persevering, like I said before, people respect so much about your performances in the Octagon, and that's the reason that you've gotten Fight of the Nights. That heart that you've shown in the Octagon. We'll have our own opinions on what your hardest fight was or what the biggest circumvention or perseverance that you showcase in the Octagon, because something can look really bad visually, but maybe it doesn't translate to where you are mentally and physically, right? We can't know how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Do you have a biggest crucible in the Octagon, or what was the biggest fight that you were able to persevere through and get the victory, whether it was through that unanimous decision or a knockout?
To me personally, it would have to be the Andre Fili fight, because when I fought him, nobody knew, but during that whole week, I think I had the flu or something, and then it just went away for like the 15-20 minutes of the fight, and then it came right back. But I didn't work out one day that week. I was just in my room. I remember like the first day we tried to work out, I hit mitts, and it just felt like I was in a room, and it would just sound like everything was echoing and bassing, and like was like headaches. And my coach at the time was like, oh, about to pull me, but I was like, nah, I gotta fight, you know what I mean? This is how I make my money. This is how we all make money, you know? So just let me do it. Like, I can get there. As long as we make the weight, I know I'll be fine, you know? And we ended up making weight, ended up winning. I remember like sick as a dog, not training all week. I don't know even how we made weight. I couldn't even tell you, but we did it. I ended up being able to finish the fight. And not only finish the fight, I was... their camp was known for like guillotine guys, so I ended up guillotining him, which was pretty cool. And I still to this day hold it against Dana them, because I don't understand how I didn't get a bonus for submission of the night that night, because they gave it to Joseph Benavidez, but he tapped out Elliott with a guillotine. I was like, that's what their team is known for, you know, like that's what alpha male guys, and Andre's from alpha male. I was like, I tapped out a guy that's known for guys that's guillotining. Like, you should have gave me the thing. Like
100%, dude. Wow, they did you dirty.
Yeah. Man, it is what it is though. So it's just funny.
You were able to tap into some sort of hidden resource to get you through, even though you weren't feeling 100%. Something unlocked, and you just were able to zone in and find that win.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. For sure. We had to lock in, you know. I mean, this is what you got to do, you know. Most of the fights, everybody thinks so it's a physical fight on there, but it only takes a little bit of physical. Most of that is just mental. You got to get the training, you got to get the physical training, don't get me wrong, but this is a mental game. The only thing that I like to tell people coming up, the only thing that separates you from any UFC fighter, if you're not in the UFC yet, is mental, and then what separates the top 15 to two guys in the UFC, mental, and then the top 15 from the top 10, mental, and then the top 5 to top 10, and then the champion and maybe the top 3 guys in the world is all mental. This is not, they're not there by chance. It's a mentality. That's what I tell a lot of guys, and I try to tell guys coming up fighting too, they just make it too hard. That you just make stuff too hard on yourself. It's like there's only a certain amount of combination that someone can throw at you that can make it look different. And some guys are special. Some guys might have a different way of throwing a punch or kick, but it's still at a jab or a right kick, or it's still at a high kick. Like there's a bunch of stuff that comes into play for sure, but it's just a mental game. At the end of the day, it's just one guy outsmarting the other guy and using their best tools to their best advantage.
And speaking on that mental toughness, I love the sport. I love watching UFC matches live. I've trained a little, but outsiders, they see the violence, the blood, and I think for even, anybody who's even sparred, and we've never gone to that level that you guys do, where you're pushing your bodies, you're taking strikes that you're bleeding, like those moments where you're 3 rounds in and you're bleeding from your face and you see blood dripping on the mat. When I've gotten to walk out on those mats after a fight, you just see all the sacrifice that's been laid out there, for the beauty of the sport, for the fans, for everybody that you're competing for. How do you deal with taking those kinds of strikes? If you get a cut and you're bleeding, how do you push through that? Oh, I'm not weaker because I took that strike and my body reacted in a certain way. How do you find that mental toughness?
It's just time, to me, it's just time. Like the way I get to it, I can't speak for everybody because I'm sure everybody have a different way or a different motive. But to me, my motive when I'm in there is just time, like I sacrifice so much time to get here. I sacrifice so much time away from holidays and birthdays and, family time, a lot of people, I keep saying, I sound like a broken record, but it's like, yeah, I'm at home doing these camps, but, when we're in that mode for 10 to 8 weeks at a time, it's like we're not, you're just a body, your body's just there, it's like host, it's like something else is taking over. I'm just kind of going through the motions and not really there, like I might be there, but I'm really just not there because my mind is someplace else, thinking about something else, thinking of the task at hand. So the main thing for me is just time, It's like I told somebody, like, the craziest thing that you can do is just waste someone's time. And then it's like, oh, what do you mean? I was like, if I give you $20, any point of our life, I can be on my dying table, my last breath, I can be like, bro, you owe me $20,
Right. And
you can physically give me, $20. But if I tell you, if I'm dying, I'm like, bro, give me back the hour I gave you. You can't give me back an hour of my life, So at the end of the day, it's just time. I don't want to waste people's time. I could have been doing better stuff instead of training. My coaches, them, had better things to do than giving up their Saturdays to come to the gym and help me train, or any day of the week, to be honest. They have family, they all have kids, so at the end of the day, it's just time. I respect everybody's time, so that's what it goes. Like, something bad happens, I'm like, man, I didn't come this far to come this far. I sacrificed a lot for this, so I'm just gonna leave it out. At the end of the day, it's a win, lose, or draw. I can look myself in the mirror and be like, yeah, I left it all out there, and there's, if I lost, the better man won that night, and you best believe I'll be back.
After a fight night, when you lay it all out there, you get that fight of the night, like, it can look pretty rough for people like this. You guys just doing like press conferences, and the audience is like, how's this guy talking right now? How's this guy standing right now? Was there ever a post-fight moment where after a win, maybe you looked in the mirror, you're like, oh man, I didn't realize we did all that, or I didn't realize that that's a story that was being played out there? Are you even feeling all of that, the cuts, the strikes?
Nah, when you're in there, you don't really feel them, and then when you get out, though, yeah, for sure. I'm at You know, especially the next day, you wake up and you feel all the little aches and pains where it's like, how can I be hurt there? Like, what is going on? So at the end of the day, we're still human. You know, a lot of people, they like to look at us like superheroes, you know, and superpowers, but we human, you know, we go through pain, we go through mental suffering, we go through a lot, you know, and everyone at any job sits back and enjoys the work at some point, but you gotta remember that you ain't done yet, you know, like it's good to smell the flowers, but don't make sure you grab them and hang them, because at the end of the day, you gotta go collect more flowers is how.
Yeah, exactly.
In my thoughts, you know.
I'm sure recovering in a beautiful place like Oahu isn't rough. After a fight where you laid it all out there, kind of what's your process to get back into the swing of things? Are you doing like a big massage thing? Are you getting back active outside in the ocean? I'm guessing there's a lot of different ways for you to like recuperate when it comes to your body and your mind.
I'm not gonna even lie, you know, like that's not even the top thing in my mind. But I'm blessed enough to have a wife. Now that you just put it that way, you know, I think so. She like mental game and like high levelly played chess against me and just plays me after the fights, because we somehow always get to the beach and she makes me go in the water for a swim, you know. And if it was up to me, I'd probably just stay home and play games all day, to be honest. But she bamboozles me and tells me it's family time and we go to the beach. But I think so it's really just for me to heal, you know, to go into the ocean, to be with the land and to touch sand and breathe the air and have that sun touch me, get that vitamin D. So at the end of the day, I gotta thank her, you know. I think so she's the one that does that, because when you just said it, like I do nothing for recovery, but when I think about it after the fights and stuff, she makes it a point to take me to the beach to go surf, even if I'm hurt. She's like, well, you don't have to catch no wave, just paddle out, you know. You just got to get your body moving again after this fight. Like you was in a fight, you was just sitting on a chair for a plane for 6-8 hours.
Right.
You need to get out there, you know. So I guess so we can thank her, you know. She's making me recover without me even knowing. She bamboozled me. So
I like that. Yeah, I mean, speaking about the games, I think we both like to play a little Call of Duty, like to play a little of this and that. Obviously, I really enjoy the streams. Is that video game time for you to just get away from the daily grind? Do you feel like that brings some benefit, or is it just like having fun, inflict some damage, but not taking any kind of body penalty for it?
You know, I'm just a competitive guy, man. So I like being competitive. So I just love playing games, you know. I remember playing games as a kid. Streaming gives me another outlet of, like, you know, talking to fans and meeting people. I met some great people through gaming. Build a great community.
Do you have anything else that you like to play? You play any of the UFC game?
No, bro. Everybody always harasses me, like, you need to play UFC. You get more viewerships and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I do this. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's what I do, you know. I mean, I kind of trip out that people who's in the military play Call of Duty. Like, guys, you do that. Like, it's insane that you guys are doing this, you know. Like, but for me with UFC, I was like, bro, I do this. I don't wanna be around there 24/7. You know, I dread training and stuff. You know, just cause like it's been so part of my. I've been training since I was 16. You know, I'm 31 now. I'm about to be 32 in December. So this year is gonna be more than half my life. So exactly half my life at 32. So at the end of the day, it's just like, this is what I've been doing, you know. So I need some time away from it.
When it comes to your training, what does it look like today? What things are you focusing on? Have you found a basic outline, foundational outline of everything that you do every fight camp?
For sure. Yeah, we have a basic outline. You know, most of my days, if anybody really wanted to kidnap me or hurt me or whatever, it's probably during the camp, because I have a pretty set schedule for every camp and nothing really changes. So at the end of the day, the camp is just a basic, you know, just repeating and doing stuff. Maybe we change stuff. The times usually don't change unless something comes up. Everything is the same. We go out there, you know, outside of camp, I try to learn new stuff, and inside of camp, we just try to refine or build up whatever I picked out outside of camp and get ready for one specific person.
You're well known for your striking. Do you have a favorite strike now, or a favorite strike that you've been able to do in a fight?
You know, I love my boxing, you know, hence that's what I said against Calvin Cater. I'm the best boxer in the UFC, but at the end of the day, my main striking coach is a Muay Thai guy. His wife been telling me that I owe her a head kick KO, so hopefully I can get one soon, because I've been with him for quite a while now, so I need to get that one from him.
When it comes to the striking and the boxing, how much are you training that to keep those things sharp?
I mean, people gonna call me a liar or whatever, but it is what it is. I don't really train it outside of camp. Like when I'm in camp, like we do so much of it that I'm just over it. Like when I'm out of camp, I do more jiu-jitsu, more gi. I really want to get my black belt before it's all said and done. So I don't really do too much trekking outside of camp. And then inside of camp, we know we look for certain things. We work certain things. We try to find weaknesses on our opponent, and then we go from there. You know, like people is gonna kill me, or people is gonna say like you're crazy, but I just think it's easy. You know, everything is easy. You know, when it's jiu-jitsu or striking, I think so. Us human beings make anything hard. A lot of people tell me like you're crazy. This is hard. You gotta do this and this and that and that. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, it sounds like you're making it sound hard.
Right.
It's really not that hard. You know, like with anything I do. People hate that I have that mindset, but I just like making things as easy as can because like
that sounds good to me, bro. Yeah, let's simplify everything, dude. I'm all for oversimplification, 100%. We talk about this every time we've hung out. UFC Hawaii, come on.
Oh man, I don't know, bro. It's not even a UFC thing, is what I've been telling everybody, and what everybody should know. It's more of a Hawaii thing. UFC wants to come.
Right.
UFC wants to come, man. They want to come, but it's like Hawaii tourism authorities.
Yes.
Those guys, I mean, it's just it's what you said earlier in the conversation. Is just they're that group of people. They're a little bit older guys. That's the head of it. You know, that whole team is actually older people and just people that just think it's violence. You know,
right.
So at the end of the day, it's kind of crazy. You know, like in my mind, I can't understand how that works. You know, we had champions in two of the only pro sports that we have in fighting in Hawaii is fighting and surfing.
Yeah.
And we have champions in it, you know. And then during the pandemic, when surfing was figuring out their stuff, they was doing stuff all over the world during the pandemic, you know. And like the world, wherever they went, was working with them. Come to Hawaii, it was just tough. I'm like, bro, you guys have a Olympian.
Yes.
We have an Olympian, Carissa Moore. You know, we have a and she's a multiple surf champion. We have a surf champion in a guy in John Florence, and then you have fighting, you know, champions. You know, like I was a champ at one time. We had like 14 of us or 15 of us in the UFC. We could have made a whole card one side, you know. So, and I was the champ at the time. So, at the end of the day, it's just it's a white thing more than a UFC thing. So I'm not gonna hold my breath. I know Hawaii's saying that in 2025 or something we should have a new stadium because they want to knock down the old stadium, whatever. But even that, like the stadium look that they're doing is like put a roof or something over it. You know what I mean? So you can have enclosed concerts or whatever it may be. You know, I don't know, but I don't know. It's like instead of open concert stuff, and it just I don't know, man.
It's pretty. I know it's interesting that they think the fightings of violence when surfing can be pretty violent.
Crazy, yeah.
People are dying out there.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Like,
You're slamming it, especially in pipe, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
It's insane, but it is what it is. You know, it's just. I guess that they grew up, and I mean, it's not only Hawaii. It's a lot of companies. Period. That just think this is that this sport is just a certain way and. I mean, we just need to move it, you know. We need to show people and make people understand that this is just an art, in a different form. That's what it's called, mixed martial artists.
Yeah, 100%, man. I think one of the greatest steps towards that is this expansion of all the gyms, the seminars that you're doing, getting people to train MMA, I think is where, because that's where I love to watch it just because I love the action of it at first, but once you start training, you start to really appreciate.
Yeah, you get a newfound respect for it, and anything you do, I mean, with anything, with surfing, like after I started getting into it, I was like, oh man, I respect this, or you go train with somebody, you go do something. I remember training at the Exos facilities a while back, and then there was all the Olympians in there, like the pole vaulters and the sprinters, and seeing the way they trained, you just get a whole newfound respect for someone because now you're watching them go through it versus just watching them at the meet, And that's the thing that everybody get it confused, like they see that they get to see me for, 25 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it may be, in an octagon, but you don't see the countless hours that we're doing to get there, you know. So that's just a misunderstanding on a lot of people. A lot of people is like, oh, anybody can sit down on the couch like, oh, you should have thrown the 1-2, you should have did this, you should have did that. It's like it takes a lot more than just throwing a 1-2 or doing this and doing that, you know.
Yeah. So you say get in the gym.
Get in the gym, go and go try that 1-2 that you're telling the person on TV to do and see how it works.
I love it, dude. Great chatting with you, man. I
Thank you,
appreciate
brother.
you coming
Thank you for
on,
having
man.
me. Honor's all mine, man.
Can't wait till the next one, bro.
Hell yeah.